Hello, in today's video I will be demonstrating how to use Google Jamboard to create a simple group activity. Now there are several ways to start a Google Jamboard. You can either start from within your Gmail by selecting the Google Apps icon and then choosing Jamboard, or you can also start a new Jamboard from within your Google Drive by selecting New Jamboard. Now once the Jamboard opens, the first thing you'll do is to give the Jamboard a name. Now for today's demonstration, I will be calling it types of input devices. Now types of input devices will be my topic, the topic of the lesson that the activity will be based on. So this should be type of device, input devices. Types of input devices. And once that's finished, you finish saving, you now need to choose a background. Now there are several backgrounds from which you can select based on your preference. Or what you can also do is to select an image as a background. Now if you're going to select an image, you will be given the option of selecting it by uploading it from your device, from a URL from your camera, for a Google image search, where you'd search, for example, for my topic, input devices. If I wanted input devices to be my background, I would select either of these images as my background, and it will become unmovable on the Jamboard. Or if the image is already in my Google Drive, or I can upload it from my Google Photos. All right. So I have selected a blue board background. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just to add a little fun to it, I'm going to include an image from Bitmoji. Now you can install Bitmoji by simply going to the Bitmoji site and signing up with your Gmail account. Now I'm going to use Make Me Proud. And I would pretty much center that on the page. Right? And then from there, on the left of my screen, I am going to choose sticky notes. Now on the left of the screen, there are different icons for different things. There is your pen, your eraser, your sticky notes. If you wanted to add an image or shape, or if you wanted to add a text box, etc. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select sticky note. Now you can change the color of your sticky notes depending on your preference. Now the first thing I want to do is, because it's a group activity, I am going to add the names of the group members. So for example, if you want to type the full name of the students or just the first name of the students, whatever your preference is. All right? Mary and John. So for group 1, we'll have Sasha, David, Mary, and John. So once they open the Jamboard, they would select the frame that would correspond with their names and the particular activity. So here I've selected 4 students for this group activity. Now for the questions, I am going to select another sticky note, maybe change the color. And the first question for this particular group is, maybe let's ask them to list 3 examples of input devices, or I could ask them to use images, right? Use images. Use images. And we're going to ask for 3 images. Use 3 images for examples of input devices, and I will save that, and I can maybe put that to the right corner of the, and then a second thing I could ask them to do is to give one characteristic, give one characteristic of each input device selected, and save. Right? So this is the group activity, and these are the questions or the activities for group 1. Now the students would also need to know about the different options that are available to them on the left hand side of the screen. So instead of having to type all of their responses, they can also use images, because one of the requirements is to find 3 images of input devices. So beforehand, you would need to teach them how to go about selecting the image, right? And this would be activity for group 1. Now they would place their responses on the particular frame that responds to their name, and you'd continue the process for group 2. So for group 2, maybe change the background, and if you'd like, we can ask them to, now if you notice, we are now on frame 2 of 2. So this is going to become group number 2's activity, right? So this is the activity for group number 2. This is the activity for group number 1, and you continue the process. So if you wanted, for example, for this one, for this activity for group 2, you can go ahead and you can select the names as before. So Marsha, Addison, Eric, and Josh. So 4 persons are in this particular group. So once they access the Jamboard, they are going to search through the frames until they find whichever frame correspond to their names. So these are the names for activity 2. And for this particular activity, I am going to ask that we're going to give them an image. So we're going to do an image search for, let's say, a keyboard. Right, then you're going to select any one of the keyboards, maybe this one, and insert keyboard. And then for their question, we could ask, for example, list 2 types of keyboards, and they would give their responses. So 2 types of keyboards, and they'll give their responses. We could also ask this particular group to give give two characteristics. Characteristics of a keyboard. And you would save. And there you have it. And you can add different questions to the activity to your preference and based on the number of persons that are in the group. So again, once they access the Jamboard, they would scroll through the frames to find which frame corresponds with their names and such, find which set of questions or activities they are to respond to. Now what the students will do, they will go ahead and place their responses on the particular frame that corresponds to their name. Simple, easy way.